Hello, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to China, the agentic commerce podcast exploring how brands are building in an AI world. I'm your host, Rachit Magan, and half of Indian men deal with hair loss, but almost no one talks about it properly. I've been losing hair, as you can see, from both the sides. I think a little more on this side than this one. But today's conversation is a bit about hair, but also about confidence, about stigma, and about broken consumer experiences. Our guest today lost his hair early, found something that worked, hated how the industry sold it, and built Topee. So let's invite Kailash to the stage. Let's listen to his story. Let's see how this industry is placed and how is it changing. Hi, Kailash.
Hey Rachit,
How are you doing?
all good. What about you?
Doing well, doing well. So, Kailash, if you could just give like a short introduction before we start.
Sure. So yeah, my name is Kailash. I'm the founder of Topee. I've sort of been building businesses for the last almost 20 years. I had a couple of failed startups in my first 10 years of business, and I thought maybe I should get wiser about running businesses. So I thought I should join somebody who's been there, done that, scaled it, and I got lucky with having an opportunity to work with Swiggy. And I was with them for about 3.5 years, doing a couple of different things. And my next stint after that was at QMath for about a year. After which I decided to jump back into entrepreneurship, and that's what made me start Topi.
Amazing, amazing. Um, so, when you started Topi, like how did it start, and like what's the story behind it?
So Topi officially opened its retail stores, the first retail store on Jan 2024
Hmm.
in Bangalore. And the reason I started it is because I was moving out of a job and I was very keen on on starting a company again. But this time I wanted the problem to be something I deeply cared about, and at the cusp of also being a very very large problem statement that's largely unsolved for a certain type of audience. Right? I didn't know about the size or anything at that point. But then at the same time, what happened was, I used to actually procure these hair pieces for myself from a certain brand that shut down. And for a year or so, I was without access to good quality patches at a pretty affordable cost, what I used to buy it at.
Hmm.
And that sort of prompted me, all of that, me leaving a job, plus looking for a new business, plus going through a problem myself,
Hmm.
prompted me to think about, hey, if this is a problem for me, it could be a problem for a lot of people.
Right.
And I started off with a basic landing page experiment. That's
Hmm.
exactly how Topi started.
Oh wow! So you started with a landing page experiment, not the whole
Yeah. So
outlet.
one of the things that I was fortunate enough to learn at Swiggy while I was at this team called Swiggy Labs was everything to do with creating a 0 to 1 experimentation, and
Hmm.
working through like scaling it, going from 1 to 10, 10 to 100,
Right.
working through uncertainty, those kind of things.
Correct.
So the first thing that I did was I wanted to understand, is this really a problem for other people, or is it just a problem
Hmm.
which is very small? So I created a landing page for free, and I spent, I think, between 2 or 3 thousand rupees on Facebook, and I advertised the fact that a brand like Topi exists. So it was just a threefold web page which said, if this is your problem where you're bald,
Right.
and this was very early mid journey days
Hmm.
in AI. So the images that I generated were really low quality, and my wife was a graphic designer. We generated a guy who had hair, and she basically removed his hair on. We
Right.
made an animation out of it.
Right.
And yeah, so that's the problem, and then this is the solution, which is a hair patch. And if you're interested, sign up.
Hmm.
So I thought this could be an e-commerce offering. I got about 300 leads, and I spoke to about 150 or 200 of them myself. And I pitched the problem, pitched the solution. The problem statement
Right.
was very clear, but they weren't really biting into the whole e-commerce aspect of it. So that's when I
Hmm.
decided to pivot into doing something offline.
Hmm. Wow, very interesting. So, were you? Did you start earlier? Did you start with the e-commerce mentality? Like, what surprised you with the test results? And it's amazing, how we read it a lot in, in all startup gurus tell us that experiment first figure out, talk to your audience, and then start. You've actually done that. While doing that, what surprised you? Like, what did you start out with, and how did the experiments actually get? What result did you get from the experiments?
I started off the experiment with a bias in retrospect. because the bias was I used to buy these products via an e-commerce website, and I
Right.
there's a little bit of heavy lifting that goes into sort of getting the product ready and applying it on yourself.
Right.
And I assume that people had the same level of motivation as me to do it, and it would be a completely DIY business. It would be a little bit of an asset light business because you wouldn't have to go through the capex of setting up retail locations.
Hmm.
That was the interesting bit why I thought I could do an e-commerce business. But then when I spoke to people and I
Right.
said, look, we can ship these to you, 30-day money back policy. You can do whatever you want with the product. It was an experiment. So I was trying to see what would make them bite into the e-commerce aspect of it. But
Hmm.
I literally got pushback from 100% of people I spoke to saying, there is no way I see myself wearing this product on me. You have to do it. You have to give me the service. And I want to come to you every time I need to, which is on a monthly basis. And that was the writing on the wall for me. And I was like, okay, maybe this is not something that other people can do, but it's something that I did. And it was a bias in my mind. And now I got to think like a beginner and figure out how to actually build this business.
Very interesting. So you started out with the bias, which got proved wrong,
Yeah.
with with this. And but honestly, it's a hard to scale model, right? Like having physical. Of course, I completely understand that something like this buying online would be very very hard for consumers. mm. But you've been in messy industries, right? Like when you started Classic, if I'm not wrong, that was
Yeah.
also eyewear. This is pre Lenskart days, right?
Yeah.
Lenskart changed it finally. People are somewhat buying glasses online, and now you're in again in a very messy categories. How come you've been in, why do you keep choosing messy categories
I don't know if
for
I'm
building?
none the wiser after starting Classic. And actually, after I shut down Classic, I said maybe I shouldn't pick such a difficult industry the next time around. But here I go again. It's a whole bunch of challenges of its own. Um, but it is going to be a challenge to scale this. But I think what I've done differently this time is I've not been in a super rushed mode to scale the
Hmm.
business. Like when I started Classic, I said we have to get to 100 crores, we have to get to 100 stores, we have to get to 300 stores. We don't know what the scale is going to be. And I think
Right.
starting like that from day one can really misinform a lot of your decision making process. And
Hmm.
what I've done here is I've taken it very, very slow. And it's been 2 years now. I'm still only in one studio. I've just about closed the location for the second studio because
Right.
I, while I did feel the urge to move faster, nature kept slowing me down, and through a lot of challenges my way at every different juncture, and I took it as a learning. And then I was like, okay, I have this Rolodex, and I was like, okay, now I learned this, now I've learned this, and now
Right.
I feel ready to sort of take this model and scale it up either
Scale it.
myself or through an external partnership of sorts. But I feel a lot more ready after having 2.5 years in one studio, seeing across 1,000 2,000 clients. It really really informs your understanding of the client mentality at a granular level, at a 10,000 feet level, and even informs your strategy in terms of how do you scale this business going forward.
Hmm. Correct. So recently, like what before scaling, like while proving this, what has been the biggest problem?
I think the biggest problem it's changed over the last 2.5 years.
Hmm.
Earlier, when you start a business, the brand awareness is a problem. You
Correct.
need people to know that you exist. You need to get them to walk through the door. You're a bootstrap company. You got bills to pay.
Right.
Uh, and then at that point you're worrying about, is this business even viable? Like, are there people, good enough number of people who want to buy this product from you? And then you start having these doubts. Okay, maybe you're not growing. I mean, growth has been good each, like now in retrospect, month on month. But then there could be 1 2 months where you've done like 20,000 more. So then you're like, oh shit, it's plateauing.
Right.
You start telling yourself like that. And then but then eventually that sort of turned into, hey, now clients are coming in, and now I'm getting different requirements. Earlier I was targeting only males, but now
Right.
females are coming in. So I didn't know how the female product category worked because I had no experience. So how
Hmm.
do I learn the female product category? How do we understand pricing?
Correct.
Where do I source good quality products from? Where do I get good quality stylists from? So it's kept morphing over time. One problem gets solved, another presents itself.
I'm sure.
That's the nature of business.
Of course, yes. And in general, it's a very, like be it any other industry, be it food, be it fashion, whatever, even medical, for example, right? It's an organized industry, right? You still
Yeah.
you still have a couple of brands in every domain, right, which are market leaders, and then for every segment you have different. um, in your case, it's a very fragmented industry, right? So as a customer, what's the most broken thing they go through before they find you?
Uh, the customer journey is actually riddled with problems. If I keep it specific to hair systems, let's say a person is looking for a hair system in the market, then he's going to go to somebody, and this has been my experience, where they don't very openly speak about the different product ranges you have. At the end of the day, two hair pieces of two very different qualities and two very different price points can look exactly alike, and no
Right.
client is going to be able to understand in that 1 hour consultation which is which. So that's the first, because of that opacity of understanding the product quality and pricing. It sort of encourages players to be unscrupulous to a certain extent. So they probably oversell a patch which is not worth it for a certain price, and then the client is none the wiser at that point, because only once you wear the patch and you wear it for a period of say 1, 2, 3 months, do you
Right.
understand how the hair is working for you? Do you understand how it's easy to manage? And then by the time they realize they've been duped, it's too late. So
Correct.
that's one big problem. And the other big problem also is one FAQ I keep getting from my clients is, whenever I see somebody wearing a patch, I can tell. So then I have to explain to
Hmm.
them that it's the quality of the hair that comes up with, and it's also the quality of the styling. If both don't go hand in glove, then it's going to be a clean giveaway.
Hmm.
So that's the second problem, where people want to make it look natural, but they don't have access to good quality brands or stylists who can bring that output out for them.
Hmm. Right. Um, Also, do you think there's a lot of stigma attached to wearing hair patches right now, and is that like is the industry still stuck in the stigma, like a taboo industry sort of a problem, or is just like there's not been a good brand in the industry yet?
I think maybe stigma has morphed into privacy. It's not a stigma anymore, but it's not like I would want to popularize the fact that I'm going to a hair center to get this done. I would never tell somebody on the phone when they call me that,
Hmm.
hey, I'm getting my hair done at this hair center. Or I wouldn't tell
Right.
them I'm going here for that. And but I think what's happening is that societal acceptance is setting in. So the people who are balding are not looking at this negatively as a taboo, saying it's a wig, I have to wear hair. That mentality has changed. And I also think if people get to know that a person's wearing a patch, if it's natural looking, it's more of like a surprise bewilderment kind of situation, like, oh, this is a patch, it looks so natural, I didn't realize it could look so natural. So there is a shift across the board and across the market. So um, people in their 20s and 30s today are not looking at this the way their dads would look at in the same way and when they were their age.
Right. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think that's fair, and maybe due to our diet or the stress we have, like a lot of people in their late 20s, early 30s, are now balding and looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
And
yeah, for a whole variety of reasons.
absolutely. And now these days there are also hair transplants, right? So what is the difference between a hair system versus a hair transplant?
So hair transplant is a surgical process. It is a surgical procedure. So it basically entails removing your follicles from the back, which is known as the donor area, and it's transplanted into the front to recreate your hairline or to recreate, some sort of hair growth. And a hair system is a completely painless process. We don't. There is zero, like, no pins, needles, scalpel, nothing.
Hmm.
It's basically just a hair piece that's applied to your scalp, either using a sticking method or a clipping method.
Hmm.
So that's the difference. Um, uh, with the transplant, I think there are some changes that are happening where people are looking at it as, oh, this is a surgical procedure. It's going to take me at
Right.
least 6 months to recover. So they are now looking for alternatives,
Hmm.
and the hair patch is one such alternative.
Hmm. Correct. Right. We've seen seen a lot of memes on people going to Turkey for, and the flights
Yeah,
full of people doing getting their transplants done.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But let's talk about the customer journey in general. So let's say someone finds you through the internet, calls you up, walks into Topee, right? What happens next?
So first of all, we actually have a sit-down consultation with them, and it's a private setting. Also, Topi stores at this point are not exactly high street stores. They are actually inside a lane, which is
Okay.
a little away from all the hustle bustle of that particular area. And so you'd walk in, you'd meet a sales consultant who's well versed with the whole hair system pieces, the nitty-gritties of what are the different kind of models that we have, different hair qualities, what is the
Right.
client looking for, what is his lifestyle. So we ask you all these questions and then come to an understanding of, okay, this is the kind of patch that could work for you if you want
Hmm.
this kind of a hairstyle, and if you have this kind of a lifestyle, right? And then we actually give them a demo. We have all of our pieces that we sell, we have them pre-cut and styled, so that when you're a lot of clients who come to us after they've been bald for about 12, 15, 20 years, so they don't even remember what they used to look like with hair, or they don't have a reference photograph that we could follow. So we got
Right.
to actually show them the demo and understand, and then see what looks good on them.
Hmm.
And that is a very strong moment of truth for people.
Hmm.
When they wear a demo hair patch and they say, you know what, this looks more natural than I thought it would, and it's suiting me.
Right.
So a lot of clients, who are not very serious, who are more on the fence, this is
Hmm.
that defining moment for them.
Hmm.
So they may even say, you know what, I'm going to go for it right now, or they might say, I need some time to think about it because this is something I have to wrap my head around. But that
Correct.
memory, that image never leaves their mind. So
Hmm.
they would even come back to you 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later and say, you know what, I thought about it, I went elsewhere, I didn't really enjoy the experience. This looked good, I want to go ahead and do it.
Interesting. Interesting. And then how do you actually end up making the hair system? Like, is it in house? Like, how do you, like, once someone says that, okay, I want to go ahead with them with this, then what happens?
So we actually have our own in-house manufacturing as well for
Oh,
males and
okay.
females. Yes, but the thing is, today you get a lot of standard hair pieces of different sizes and a certain hair texture. Luckily, in our population in India, we have mostly straight black hair, which is, I would say,
Correct.
60 to 80% of our population. So a ready-made hair piece could work for most people, and this is sort of like a trade secret. A lot of people don't really tell the clients that they have ready-made pieces. They make it look like
Hmm.
it's customized for them,
Right.
but in the end they actually give them a ready-made piece. So the Topi difference is that we show clients, look, your hair texture is like this and this is a ready-made piece, this is available
Correct.
in your, you can do the process right now, it will be done in 2 hours. Or let's say if somebody comes in with a very different requirement, it could be curly hair, it could be a particular shape of a patch for whatever
Right.
reason, and we don't have it available ready. So we tell them that we can actually customize it for you, it takes us about a month, and that's the process we follow.
Hmm. And how does the pricing work for hair systems? So like in your case and in your, like, with competitors, and if we compare it to like a hair transplant.
So our hair prices start at 15,000 rupees for a full patch, and they
Hmm.
can go up to 60,000 rupees. We also have full wig options. There are some people who face autoimmune diseases like alopecia, or even chemotherapy patients. We have wig solutions
Hmm.
for both these kind of problems. Um, in terms of competition, it's hard to say because from my own experience, I've seen people selling something what I have now priced at between 25 and 35,000, being sold at least 60, 70,000. I have clients who have come and told me that the piece that we're selling at 50,000 is being sold. Somebody else quoted them a lakh, and when
Hmm.
they came over to us, they were very surprised to see the same quality, and they placed the order instantly with us.
Right.
So and our pricing is fixed. It's on our website. When you walk into the studio, we have these pricing placards against the quality of the patch, and we tell you exactly that this is this quality, this is this price, that is that quality, that's that price. And then we answer a whole bunch of FAQs around the hair system, how to live with it, after sales
Hmm.
service, those kind of things.
Fair, fair, fair. So you're right in saying that, okay, now the stigma is now changing into privacy. There is, people have started thinking about it very differently. um, in the next 5 years, what do you think, like where is this industry going? Do you think you'll ever be able to go online and automate the whole thing like Lenskart did for glasses?
No, I don't think so because I have an e-commerce enabled website for the last 2.5 years, and I've not got a single e-commerce order even by mistake.
Right.
And that's a clear indicator. So this is not at all an online business. This is in every way an anti 2026 business, right? It's not
Right.
it's not AI first. It's not e-commerce enabled. It's literally old school. You have to go via retail stores, create more footprints. So I
Right.
think the business model will be different, and I think it's a good thing because it creates a lot of barriers to entries, not just in terms of starting up the business or scaling a business, but also in terms of product quality, pricing, and a lot of
Right.
people, I don't know about a lot of people, but I view this business as a service business. It's a service business disguised as a product business. So if
Hmm.
you fail on the service side of things, then your client's not going to come back. You're not going to have any repeatability. Everything takes a hit.
Hmm. Correct. Fair. Yeah, I think yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and that also makes this business slightly AI proof as well, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
it AI cannot eat into this business at all.
Yeah, that was actually one of the. It wasn't something I was actively seeking when I was starting up a business. I just said, maybe any business that doesn't get touched by AI is probably not a bad thing. You won't get
Right.
disrupted, with the likes of ChatGPT and Claude and stuff like that. So yeah, I said,
Correct.
interesting. Yeah. Hey, I think there's a lag in your video, maybe.
Yes, I think there was a lag for a second,
Yeah.
but yeah, now we're back.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah. But do you use AI for any of your business operations?
Um, I use AI-enabled products. Like we have an ERP which we've just recently tied up with. It has AI enabled in it, but not
Right.
directly. There is one very interesting use case which I've been using ChatGPT for. Is if a client is has signed up as a lead, and he says, I don't know how I'm going to look with hair. Here's my photo. You know, so then he expects us to. I don't know what he expects us to do, but then I've started using ChatGPT to regenerate them with a
With
hairstyle,
hair.
and
Right.
it's become really really impressive, like in terms of the realism. So in literally 1 minute I can just put that up on ChatGPT and send it back to him, and that creates that same image which would happen in the store. That image gets left behind in their mind, and it's somebody who's on the top of the funnel, not even in the bottom of the funnel.
Right.
So the ability to convince that person to walk in becomes a lot more easier. So
Hmm.
that's something I'm trying to formalize, but it's sitting somewhere in the bottom of my pile at this point.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting use case, like having a WhatsApp agent sorts where you send your photo and it replies with with like a couple of
Exactly.
options. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that
That would be
sounds very
really cool.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, but these are all AI assisted things, right? Like this is a nice to have sort of a thing. This is not something which is crucial for the
yeah,
expansion of
yeah. Not at all.
Mm,
Exactly.
yeah, and it helps. Yeah, this model, as you said, like it adds a moat. It in itself, right? You don't.
Yeah,
It's not something which a new brand can come any day and
yeah,
just build it.
yeah,
Very interesting, Kailash. And in your journey with Topee, has there been any instances where where you felt like, oh wow, this is exactly why I was doing this, because I feel um, I had some previous guests who were in similar businesses, and I've heard stories which have been very inspirational, honestly, and also slightly sad sometimes. But have you ever faced something like that? That okay, or maybe like a customer whom you helped, and then you were like, wow.
yeah, yeah. There have been. I think the reminder is constant for me. Whenever I
Mm.
see a client transformation happen, um, and if the job is well done, they are insanely happy, and it's visible. It's an instant visibility. They start smiling. They can't believe themselves. They start playing with their hair, and they
Right.
come and tell me that it's the one thing that I've constantly heard from all my clients is the confidence aspect that they
Mm.
get. Like it really really makes them more confident, and they put their best foot forward, not just in work but also their personal life. And marriage is one key driver for hair system adoption, both for men and women. And I've had some clients who've told me some very interesting statements. Like, when they come back for service to get their patch removed, I sometimes just strike up a conversation saying, "How's it going? How do you like the patch? It's been a couple of
Hmm.
months." And they're like, "Yeah." One client actually told me, "यार अगर patch नहीं होता ना मैं suicide कर लेता."
Hmm.
So it's like that's the level of life changing ability that this product has, and I don't think a lot
Right.
of products actually possess that capability.
Hmm. Very true. Yeah, yeah. Of course. Like I think it is important. It's
Yeah,
the product in itself is something, and of course it's not just a product, right? It gives people confidence. The
yeah,
confidence
yeah,
back.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. There are a lot of people, who know this industry exists, and so if there's someone who's watching this who think that this is okay, this is there, but I can't do this. This is not for me. What would you want to say to them?
Uh, what I would want to say is that, if you want to give it a chance,
Hmm.
you should definitely walk into Topi or any hair studio for that matter,
Hmm. Hmm.
and just take a look at this product with a new lens. Like, don't have a bias of, it's a wig, it's not my hair. मेंटेनेंस बहुत ज़्यादा रहेगा, itching बहुत ज़्यादा रहेगा, unnatural दिखेगा, सबको पता चलेगा. It's not like that.
Hmm.
If you go to a good hair studio and they handhold you the right way, they explain the product to you, they fit it right, they do a good styling, and they service you well, then it's a fantastic life changing product. It's very seamless. You
Hmm.
sort of The frequency of service is exactly like a haircut. You go for a haircut once in 30-40 days, you have to come here once in 25 to 30 days.
Right.
So the process is entirely painless. I have people who come with their laptop, sit and work from there. They're watching TV on their phone. So it's very comfortable if you want to get your hair back in a very unstressful way. Like, you don't have to go
Hmm. Non-invasive, non-surgical way.
non-invasive completely, and there's no anxiety. Like, when people
Right.
use medication, there's a lot of anxiety. Yeah, baal abhi aa raha hai, अरे बाल नहीं आ रहा है. None of
Right.
that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Um, so Kailash, let's do one. So we're already more than 30 minutes out. Let's do a quick round of rapid fire questions. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions, one by one, and
Okay.
you have to answer in in a few words, as less as possible.
Okay.
So let's start. Um, so the first question: biggest myth in the industry.
Biggest myth in the industry is that a hair system looks unnatural.
Hmm. Most surprising customer reaction you've got.
The one I said, if I didn't have a patch, I'd commit suicide.
Hmm. One thing people secretly care about but don't admit.
Their appearance, because a lot of clients come and tell me, if this is not going to work out for me, I'll just go back to being bald. But the minute they wear it, there's no going back.
Hmm. What's your biggest brand enemy? Not competitor, but enemy to the industry.
I think indifference. Somebody doesn't care about their appearance, they'll be like, I don't need it.
Right.
Yeah.
First step if someone's hair starts thinning, maybe for me.
Don't get worried. It's very common these days. If you get worried, I feel like it accelerates the process. So
Hmm.
just chill, go with it, and let's see what happens. There are a lot of solutions today, and don't get scared.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. Great, Kailash. Thank you so much. This is a very honest, fun discussion, and this category needs more of that. It needs more honesty. It needs more transparency,
I
which
totally
you're
agree.
building.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I wish Topi can expand to other cities in the country. Delhi, Mumbai.
Thank you.
The day of
Thank you.
starting with the day ones, and
Yes.
I'll definitely be an advocate for it. Maybe I'm also a customer once it comes to Delhi or nearby.
Yeah. Happy
Uh,
to.
so
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for your time. For our audience, that is Kailash. She's the founder of Topi, and they're based out of Bangalore right now. If this made you think differently, please share it with someone who needs it. And you can find Topi at topi.co.in. But of course, as I said, they're a Bangalore-based offline business. And yeah, Kailash, this is an amazing discussion. Thank you so much.